Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Wisdom, the nectar of senior devotee. Today we have special guest Janananda Goswami Maharaj. He is the initiated disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we are so fortunate that we have association with him today. So thank you very much, Maharaj, and please accept my humble obedience to your lotus feet. You are so pure, the association of Srila Prabhupada and initiated from Srila Prabhupada, and now you preaching France and everywhere. And it is very blissful to meet with you today. So we start with Kirtan, then we have part 3. First part is experience with Srila Prabhupada, and second part is devotional service, talk about the nectar, and third part question and answer. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Audible. So a short time, so we can all sing pranams together.
Yes.
We can't hear anyway. And then Hare Krishna together as well.
Yeah.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Devinam Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurivam all together. Nirvashesha Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Go Premanande Vanchakapatu
Purvakshya kripa sindhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is the small introduction of Maharaj.
I thought you did that already.
A little bit going through, I missed something.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, His Holiness Janananda Swami Maharaj joined ISKCON in London and was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1972. Maharaj has served various devotional service in the various countries in the world, and last few years he's really dedicated himself to support the ISKCON France Yatra. For the most of the time, the lockdown time, Maharaj has been served at ISKCON New Mayapur, France, engaged in variety of practical service and provided much support to the devotees in trying to maintain the project. They have a lot of projects there going on. And Srila Prabhupada stay in New Mayapur 3 times and installed Sri Sri Krishna Balaram there.
Right. And this
New
week is the anniversary, the 40th
Anniversary, oh,
anniversary
very great.
week.
The New Mayapur is the farm community, and Prabhupada like farm community, and the temple also, which is an old French castle, is only remaining in ISKCON property in Europe, where Srila Prabhupada stayed. So this wonderful things is going on, and Maharaj is very doing nice kirtan and book distribution in the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Maharaj is doing so much preaching there and dedication for Srila Prabhupada mission, Hare Krishna movement. So it is so much appreciating and our love and dedication and honor to Maharaj today. Hare Krishna. So first thing we start with experience with Srila Prabhupada and importance of Srila Prabhupada is now.
Experiences with Srila Prabhupada
Yeah,
and importance of Srila Prabhupada.
yes.
Thank you very much, Sachipran Gauranga Prabhu. You want me to start?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. I'll try. Hare Krishna, everybody. I understand that devotees from different parts of the world are with us today, and we're a mixed group. And Srila Prabhupada has come to bring us together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Malatamye Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Srila Prabhupada. One thing which always, many things of course, but one thing that fascinates us is the Srila Prabhupada has made a house for the whole world to live in. And how do we see that? We understand that he's the more Senapati Bhakta, that he is the chief field commander of the Lord himself. He's the Mantra Upashaka. He's a worshipper, pure worshipper of the holy name. He's the living representative of Srila Vyasadeva in terms of distributing Srimad Bhagavatam to the world, not just in literary form, but in practical form. Prabhupada's a living example of Srimad Bhagavatam. We want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. The understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam Srila Prabhupada has given us, and that we'll talk about later. But this house for the whole world to live in, it's not a physical structure. It's a house of consciousness. Srila Prabhupada himself emphasized the purpose of this movement. This movement is meant, which Srila Prabhupada, as you may know, literally did, transform the consciousness of countless souls enwrapped in the material world. Alone he came, but not really alone. It's we who are alone. Prabhupada is not alone. Srila Prabhupada is always, of course, with his spiritual master, but with the entire spiritual realm. This world is a lonely world. We're basically alone, although we, in an illusory way, we try to make friends and society to make us feel comfortable, but we don't belong in this world. No one can really help us in this world, in reality. Only one who can wake us up from this dream. Srila Prabhupada, no one in the world, I sometimes ruminate on the fact that when he arrived in America in 1965, on board the Jaladuta, nobody in the world cared, practically speaking, knew about this event. At that time, the news was full of all kinds of Vietnam War and so many things going on. 1966, when Srila Prabhupada incorporated ISKCON in New York, no one could have imagined why. What is this? A handful of hippies, boys and girls who know very little, and one Swami, who's just basically at the end of life, in physically speaking. Incorporating a society to change the world? Are you joking? At that time, the Beatles arrived in India. There was a heat wave in America. People were dying. People were protesting against the Vietnam War. The World Cup was going on. Everything was going on in people's minds in this dream-like illusion. And Srila Prabhupada only in the world has this, you could say, medicine, this mission to change the direction of human society. As they said in history, this movement will go down as saving the world in its darkest hour. Srila Prabhupada's heart, when he was in New York, when he met one man, an American man, who worked in the metro subway there in New York, who was asking him, "Are you from India? Do you have a temple here?" Prabhupada said, "Yes, we have many temples. We have farms, we have books, we have disciples. There's just a little time separation. We should have faith." Prabhupada had unflinching, Yashadevi Parabhaktir Yatadevi Tataguru. This verse is a key verse in, let's say, becoming an instrument for the fulfillment of Srila Prabhupada's mission. Prabhupada held tight to this principle of faith in the order of his spiritual master. This is a spiritual master, one who has unflinching faith in the order of his spiritual master. This is how one becomes guru, or a representative of the Parampara to distribute this message of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada came with this great message of Bhagavatam, the holy name, faith in his spiritual master, and with the entire support of the Parampara disciplic succession and the spiritual realm. This world is the spiritual world, but we're covered. And Prabhupada's business, or his purpose, is to uncover us, and that we see miracle done, his divine grace. And Srila Prabhupada would say, "This is my miracle." Sometimes he would ask Swamiji, "Can you perform miracles?" Prabhupada said, "This is my miracle." And he would indicate his disciples, "This is my miracle." That these young men and women who previously were, mostly intoxicated, addicted to sex life and all kinds of abominable things, are now chanting the holy name and practicing the life of Vaishnavis. This is the miracle, this transformation of consciousness. And it is open for everyone. It's not just a few who may take it, but that opportunity is for all. One of the most amazing things in my experience of Srila Prabhupada, and I didn't, honestly speaking, have very intimate, a little bit, but not so much, intimate association with Prabhupada like many of the wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Generally speaking, in the United Kingdom, where I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, I first came, in fact, next month will be my 50th connection with Prabhupada's movement. I didn't join the temple, but that's when I started practicing Krishna consciousness, as we call it, to some degree, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and following the principles, etc. From next month will be 50 years, so it's kind of interesting that one. But our first contact with Srila Prabhupada, you could say, in terms of, if we want to use the word physical, was in 1972 when Prabhupada came to London. I don't think he came to Calgary. He certainly came to Montreal. But I don't know about anywhere else in Canada and so many places in the States. Srila Prabhupada was going wherever he could to establish this house which could change the consciousness of the world. Houses in every town and village. An individual person can be that temple. Wherever a devotee goes, they carry that message. They're like places of pilgrimage. If we're carrying this message of Bhagavatam, this message of Krishna Katha, and sharing it wherever we go. This was Prabhupada's desire. And one of the things which really stuck out, you could say, in my heart about Srila Prabhupada, we hear about his humility and his tolerance and his so many qualities, unlimited qualities. But one of the quality which I just touch on here is how he was incredibly, I don't know, there's not a word I can say, but how in an almost a miraculous way, inspiring others to do the impossible, to go. When I first joined the temple, which was at the beginning of 1972, the day I joined, I'd already decided when I was going to join, exactly the day and everything. I came to the temple. That very night I joined because I was well known to the devotees by then. I'd been coming regularly. And they shaved me up the very moment I arrived. It was kind of prearranged, you could say. And the devotee shaving me asked me, "Where are you from?" And I didn't say Calgary or Wisconsin or Edmonton or anywhere else over there. I said, "I'm from a town called Swindon." It's a very small town in the United Kingdom. And he said, "Oh, Swindon. This is a devotee shaving me up. I just joined the temple." "Oh, we haven't got a temple in Swindon. Maybe in a couple of weeks you can go and open up a temple there." That was the mood. It was a mood of, diving the deep end. But after a few weeks, literally speaking, you were expected, after at least a month anyway, to be giving class and leading kirtan. And now sometimes we find devotees in the group for many years and they've not done either. What to speak of going somewhere and opening a temple. But that was Prabhupada's mood. He would leave uninitiated devotees to run centers. He had this faith that Krishna will look after it. This is Krishna consciousness, that Krishna is our provider. Krishna is actually, everything depends on Krishna. This is Srila Prabhupada, a living example of teaching this essential feature of Krishna consciousness. We do our part, as Krishna said to Arjuna. You don't just depend on me, but you also work in all your activities Tasmat Saveshu Kalishu Mamanusna Yujicha Yapatamalubhya Mame Vaishishya Shangshaha. You do your activity, but you depend on me, not just do it, not just depend on Krishna, both. And Prabhupada very much, this was his mood, to depend on Krishna, and not that. When he came to America, he said himself, he said, I didn't actually have a plan. It wasn't like Prabhupada came with some master plan, a blueprint. His master plan, if you want to see it, is in Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma, the poem he wrote on Boston Harbor in September 65. That's a master plan, because it's based on this principle of dependence upon Krishna. This is what Prabhupada is giving us. He's giving us the key of our eternal, well, let's say our path to it, our eternal position, to again depend on Krishna, not depend on our karma or depend upon others' karma, but to actually become dependent upon Krishna in the proper understanding of what that means. When I first met Prabhupada was in Heathrow Airport in 1972. Prabhupada was coming for the Rath Yatra in London that year. He came a few years to London, 72, 73. He came. I think he came in 70 also. So in 72 when he came, we were at the airport. It was kind of funny. I mean, if you want to know my first meeting with Prabhupada, this is it. And I'll tell you my first connection with Krishna consciousness. My first meeting with Srila Prabhupada was in Heathrow Airport. And those days we didn't have internet. We didn't have mobile phones. There was no WhatsApp. Communication was done through telegram. And if anyone remembers or experiences those days, I guess it's not like that now, but I don't know if we have telegram still, but in those days, telegram was the fast method of communication. But many times the message would not be clear. And this was one of those many times it was not clear. And another lesson there, which Prabhupada taught, was always to be prepared. Don't take it for granted. We don't know when death will come. We don't know when anything may happen. So this is one of those times. The devotees in the temple, we only had a small temple in London then. We didn't have the manor. At that time we had Bury Place. This is a year before we got the manor. And the leaders there, Dhananjaya Prabhu and others, had arranged a press conference at the airport with the, I guess, different newspapers and so on. And they no doubt rented a reception room for the occasion. And for that purpose, a great feast had been, well, fairly large feast had been cooked, which would have been served to the press people, etc. So there were 5 of us who were requested to go to the airport early. We left, I suppose we left about 7:30 in the morning to go to Heathrow Airport. And we had one old vehicle, I think it was a Volkswagen van in those days. And I was generally the driver. I was more or less the only one with a driving license. So we drove to the airport, and we were supposed to get ready for Prabhupada's arrival. He was supposed to arrive around about 11 o'clock to clean the place, to put all the chairs out, the tables, just to get ready in good time. And we took the prasadam with us, and Prabhupada's Vyasa, which we were going to. We had to take it down in Bury Place to get it out the door, and then we had to put it together again at the airport. So we were at the airport, we arrived safe and sound. We're in the reception room, and we had different services. My service was to put the chairs in place, maybe 100, 200 chairs, I don't know, a lot of chairs. Quite a large reception room. And another devotee, Dhiranayaka Prabhu, was organizing Prasadam, Mahavishnu, now Swami, and Swayambhur Prabhu was in Australia, were organizing the Vyasa. They were a little bit handymen. And Jahiri Prabhu was very good at official things. So he was trying to see that Prabhupada's entry was smooth and without any hitch. So he wasn't in the room. So there were 4 of us in this reception room getting things ready. First we cleaned it. It was already fairly clean, but we did what more cleaning was required. And then started doing our various duties. And then about 9:15, something like that, the door of this reception room opened, and Jai Hari Prabhu, who was organizing for Prabhupada's entry, came into the room and said, "Prabhupada's already here." Well, he is here. He shouldn't think that he's not here. But you know what I mean? We were talking in terms of his sort of physical appearance. He's already actually appeared in Heathrow Airport. And within seconds of his declaration, Prabhupada walked in the door. And we really, I was a bit stunned. I had no idea what was going on in reality. I was like, a bit surprised because I said, maybe this is what normally happens. I had never seen a Prabhupada arrives. It's always at a time when you don't expect him. But it wasn't normally like that, but this was one of those times when it was like that. So Prabhupada just walked into this totally empty room. I was behind the chairs, and Dhiranaka was behind the prasadam pots, and Swayambhur and Mahavish and Prabhus were behind the Vyasasan putting it together. And Prabhupada walked straight into the room right up to his Vyasasan and sat down on the Vyasasan. It wasn't even screwed up. And Swayambhur and Mahavishnu were holding it with their arms so that it wouldn't fall apart. I could see from my angle. But Prabhupada, you couldn't see, none of us were in vision. He was just looking at an empty room, completely empty. It was like quite ironic. It was my first experience of seeing Prabhupada looking at an empty room and sitting on his Vyasasan and asking where all the devotees are. And you could say, you're not yet manifested. Everyone's a devotee. And Prabhupada, could see like that. Pure devotee can see everyone. They just haven't realized it yet. Everyone's actually a devotee. We haven't realized it. So anyway, he sat there and he took prasadam there. He wanted to taste the prasadam. And then he left the temple because the devotees were all at the temple. They thought he was coming in an hour or two's time. So they hadn't arrived. So Prabhupada left the reception. That was our first meeting with Srila Prabhupada there in London. And we didn't get back for a long time, so I can't speak about the rest of that first experience. But my first time of, again, another miracle of Srila Prabhupada in terms of his presence, you could say. How Prabhupada was so present, even though physically not. And he still is today. If we read his books, if we take advantage of his movement and try to be a part of his movement and try to assist in bringing pleasure to Srila Prabhupada in various ways, which we'll mention in a minute. But my first time of meeting him was very interesting. Not meeting him directly, but coming in contact with his movement. As I said, it was next month in 1971, in September. It could have even been August, actually, but most likely September. I was visiting some of my ex-college friends, and we were all, those days, most of us youngsters, we were interested in intoxications. So I went to visit them. They were in their apartment in Birmingham, in England, not in America, in England, and they're still taking intoxications and so on. I'd had such an amazing experience by Krishna's grace that I decided never to give up, never to take intoxication of that kind again. So I wasn't indulging. And Krishna reciprocated. You make one step towards Krishna, he makes 100 steps towards us. The Prabhupada said like that. So that was an example. I was in that apartment. I decided, no, I would not take the intoxication, even though all the others were. So what to do? I was a little bored, you could say, sat there during the night, and I was looking for something useful to read, and I couldn't find anything. But then they had a pile of magazines, and right at the bottom of that pile of magazines were 2 Back to Godhead magazines. In those days, the Back to Godhead magazine was directly aimed at preaching to the public. And they had all black and white. There was only color, only on the front cover. All inside black and white, and mostly just writing, 90% almost, just solid writing. But the picture on the front just stuck out. One of them had a picture of the Rasa dance on the front cover. And the other one had a picture of Radha and Krishna, I think in, Boston, I think. Little picture, little deities of Radha and Krishna. And they were stunning, stunning. Prabhupada said, windows to the spiritual world. They were stunning. I looked at those magazines and they were like, well, I didn't know then, but they were like windows to the spiritual world. And as Prabhupada said about these paintings, they're windows. And the book itself, the magazine itself, when I started to read, it was just like a magnet. Some of the Krishna reciprocated. All night long, I just read those magazines. And it has incredible effect, transformation, even without Prabhupada's presence. This, as Prabhupada said, there are many gurus, so-called, and many translations of Bhagavad Gita. But where do you find it? Someone practicing pure devotion? Very rare. But just by reading those magazines, I just started chanting Hare Krishna. I just thought, this is it. Tested it for the next 6 months before joining the temple. But I decided, this is it. This is the truth. Everything was there. Even the articles were not written by Prabhupada. They were written by young devotees. Only one article by Prabhupada. But they were the followers of Prabhupada and living what Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, my mercy of instructions I'm giving you. So if we embrace these instructions of Srila Prabhupada and take up this mission to try to spread Krishna consciousness, which was basically all we did in those days. There were no congregation. There was no farms. There was no Vrindavan, other than that, which was far away from us. No schools, no restaurants, just Harinam Sankirtan, going out opening centers here and there. Our whole motive was, hit Prabhupada pleases Srila Prabhupada. This is what Prabhupada wants, that's what we'll do. There wasn't much thinking about, what do I want to do? It was what does Prabhupada want? We learned that was what the Krishna consciousness movement meant, which ultimately meant what Krishna wants. So we spent all of our time trying to fulfill that instruction of Srila Prabhupada to distribute this message through Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution. There wasn't much prasad distribution like we have it now in terms of food for life and so on. Prasad distribution was there, but mostly in the temple and festivals sometimes. But mostly it was book distribution, and even that was small in those days. And Harinam, every day, 7 hours a day on the street on Harinam Sankirtan. Can you imagine? 6 days a week, and then 3 hours on Sunday in the morning, and then Sunday feast in the afternoon. And whatever literature we had, we would try to distribute, although we were not very good at it. We would try. And the whole morning program, something which you can't expect if you're working and living at home, but just to get an idea, the whole morning program was 4 or 5 hours in the morning, 3 or 4 hours in the evening. And pretty much everyone in the temple would attend it. And then we'd all go on Harinam, save and except 1 or 2 devotees would stay back to Kokori Puja. We'd all go out the street, everybody on Harinam. Such an ecstatic experience. And Prabhupada, this was Prabhupada's life and soul, to see his disciples going out distributing this message of Krishna consciousness, which he came to the West to do. And this chanting of the holy names and this engaging in Sankirtan is really the house in which the whole world can live in. Prabhupada's desire was to see everyone in the world chant Hare Krishna. And that's Pratibhati Achiyati Nagaradagram, to spread this message to every town and village of the world. It's not so difficult, especially where you are, Sachipran, there in Calgary. There's not so many towns and villages over there. I'm sure you've got some big towns, but there's lots of small ones, I would imagine, to spread the holy name everywhere in every town and village, and try to give everyone the opportunity to chant Hare Krishna mantra, because their life will be transformed. And try your best to get everyone to receive one of them. So that we took that as being the main message, because there wasn't much else in those days. But this to these books is really Srila Prabhupada's heart and soul. And of course, we know many other services are absolutely wonderfully important and different methods of bringing us into that house for the whole world to live in, the children, people in general, everyone. But the foundation of that is the books, Prabhupada's books, and the chanting of Hare Krishna. Okay, well look, we've gone 30 minutes now. Maybe you want to ask some questions, or just look a little bit at the devotional service, yeah. So if you want to know about my service, you ask some questions. What's
Oh,
happened
so
in the last 50 years? What went wrong in the last 50 years?
it is very wonderful and very nice that very Nectarium association and experience with Srila Prabhupada. So
Have you?
Srila Prabhupada is so wonderful and he gives so much sacrifice to saving the fallen soul, and whole world is now flooding the Hare Krishna movement. So we are asking, most everybody asking for devotional service. So what is the importance of devotional service?
Well, I guess if you want to take it literally, devotional service. Well, service, what does service mean? It can have many different meanings, I guess. You can service a car, you can service many things. Your latest machine, it can be serviced and bring it to, you could say, bring it back into order. And Prabhupada, he started a social service is a revolution. This word revolution sometimes is misunderstood. We have so many revolutions. We have the American revolutions. I don't know if you had a Canadian one. French Revolution, and all kinds of ways people want revolution. Different countries, different races, different nations at different times. But the word revolution means to return back to one's original state. This is the real essential root of the word. So Prabhupada really is a revolution. Devotional service is the revolutionary process. And what form it takes in detail. So the word service, now if we take it in the material sense of the term, it might be conditional. I'm serving somebody, but it's not really service, it's a business, it's conditional. So service, devotional service, means unconditional. In the ultimately it's unconditional. We don't start with unconditional devotional service. We may start with mixed devotional service which has some motivation. But it's been offered to one who doesn't have any material motivation. The devotional service means those activities which would bring pleasure to Srila Prabhupada in you could say, immeasurable terminology. Devotion means more than just a sentiment. Devotion means unflinching. It doesn't mean, when I feel like it. It means come what may. You may break me or crush me or ignore me, chastise me, do whatever you like. But we're devoted. We're going to carry on trying to please Srila Prabhupada no matter what the world says, no matter what happens around us, no matter what happens with us. Devotional service. We're going to remain devoted. A devotee is one who is devoted. So it's service rendered to one who is devoted in a devoted mood, a dedicated mood. And service doesn't mean, in its pure sense, sometimes you say, please engage me in your service. So that means unmotivated devotional service, whatever we're asked to do. Now that may not be expected in the beginning. Mostly you don't expect that in the beginning because people are motivated. They have their natural conditioning, natural, limitations, or let's say conditional limitations. So devotional service in the pure essence is whatever you want them to do, my Lord. Spiritual realm where devotional service really begins on the spiritual plane. Devotional service begins on the spiritual platform, which means there's no material motivation. We're beyond that. So on that spiritual platform, devotional service really begins. And on that platform, of course, there's a different perspective. And the material perspective is that we look at it from a present conditional state, and we can't really envision quite what it really means in a sense, because we tend to judge things by our own experience, our own whatever we think we are, whatever conditional situation we're in. I can do this, I can't do that, I like doing this, I don't like that, etc. It's not really a question of that basic platform, because then one's freed of the effects of the laws of nature, at least for a devotee, and one comes to one's constitutional position in terms of one's relationship with Krishna, not in the impersonal romance stage, but in the devotional stage. There's no question, because one's very nature itself is what it is, and that is pleasing to Krishna. We don't have to become something else. One is what one actually is, because right now we are in a false condition. We're not what we think we are. Therefore, it is uncomfortable sometimes thinking, oh, I can't do this, I've got to do that, I'll do this, I'll do that. It's all part of the surrendering process, but on the absolute platform, it's free. Devotional service takes a different dynamic. And one is simply no question, oh, why am I a cow? If only I was a goat. Nothing. One is what one is. And that's how it is meant to be, and that's one's relationship with Krishna, and the soul is completely satisfied. But in this material, it tends to be a low condition of what we think, how we achieve, what fits into my nature. And as we advance, of course, that may get less and less of consideration. The devotional service becomes purer and purer and purer. But what establishes at this stage impure, so pure. I will give the example of a mango, which is green, in the right circumstances, becomes a tasty, sweet mango. And it was a bit over mango season now in India, but during mango season, I think many of you are from Indian background, you know that this is a great time of the year when the mango season comes, they're ripe, and you relish the sweetness of the mango. So devotional service becomes ripe at a certain time, you can't give a date to it, when more surrender, Krishna reveals himself, devotional service matures and becomes very sweet in of itself without even asking for anything. It automatically produces rasa or nectar, sweetness through chanting the holy names. Specifically in this age of Kali, the Sankirtan, a Harinam congregational chanting of the holy name is the essence of devotional practices. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has emphasized this. Of all the limbs of devotional service, he said it many times, the chanting of the holy name is the most important. And Prabhupada, when he arrived in Boston, said, I have no devotion. I have no knowledge. I simply have firm faith in the holy name of Krishna. So this is the essential foundation. All limbs of devotional service should be accompanied by the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. P. Goswami says that this is the only infallible process of devotional service. Other limbs are extremely and equally important in one sense, but only the chanting of the holy name is unquestionable. Other limbs like daily worship and various types of study and philosophical presentations, etc., and many other projects which we have to try to distribute this message can be questioned in terms of their validity. But no one can question the validity of the holy name. This is the Yuddhagama. So the Lord has manifested himself in this particular form, which everyone of devotional service through chanting the Mahamantra. And what makes it devotional service is the connection with the pure devotee. If we come into Srila Prabhupada is a living example of pure devotional service. So the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, his instructions, etc., because many of us here today have not had the opportunity to directly receive a direct instruction from Prabhupada. We do through his representatives, through his books, and whatever videos, lectures, etc., again, understanding what Srila Prabhupada wants. And that, as much as we can apply, then transforms into pure devotional service in time. The more faith, the more dedication we have in the practice of our service. Offering it to Srila Prabhupada, offering it to his Guru, or back to Krishna, it becomes devotional service. Even though it may be mixed from our perspective, it may be motivated, it may be whatever it may be. It may be just taking a flower and offering it to the deity, that is devotional service. Krishna understands within their heart where we're at. It's like a child may offer the parent a little sweet. The parent doesn't need it, but the parents accept it because it's the child's level of understanding and it's an offering from the child. Prabhupada used to accept even, maybe jam that some new person would cook, something strange that a new person would cook. Prabhupada would accept it because maybe the beginning of their connection with devotional service, not just service, but devotional service, by offering it to a pure devotee of the Lord. It's not a concoction. The devotional service is not so much manufacturing in a fertile brain. Devotional service is bestowed upon us by the pure devotees of the Lord. And our part is simply to take it, that's all, to the degree that we take that gift of devotional service and apply it in our lives. Those who apply, Krishna says to Arjuna in the 4th chapter of Gita, those who apply themselves to this knowledge realize this knowledge in due course of time. So if we apply ourselves to these instructions by the grace of Krishna, we will realize the import or the essence of these instructions, the purpose behind them. That's it.
Thank you so much. Very nice. So now, just another question is coming. Kirtan, the importance of Kirtan and devotee association.
The importance of ISKCON and devotee association. Is that right? Is that what the question is? The
Yeah,
importance of ISKCON and
Kirtan.
well, ISKCON again, is an institutional terminology, and it depends on again one's situation in terms of how we understand the extent of ISKCON. It's an institution established by Srila Prabhupada for the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. The essence, as we said, I don't think we said today, but we said it previously in the talk, is the spirit of the law, the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. It's the spirit of the mission, not just the letter. The letter is important to give us some framework, but it's meant to awaken the spirit. ISKCON is simply as much value as it is to awaken our Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada himself said, we are to be convinced by how much it awakens our love for God. So simply having an institution with buildings and numbers is not the goal. Prabhupada himself said that he would rather have just one moon in millions of stars. One pure devotee with mission. Pure devotee is not just somebody who follows the rules and regulations, it's one kind of pure devotee. It's one kind of pure devotee who just sticks to the book. It's a certain level, but it's not on that level of a moon. A real moon is not, never is covered. It remains forever frozen because that real moon is connected to the source. The purpose of ISKCON is to awaken that which is within our hearts. It's not just to become a member of a society. Now, on that side, of course, that may open up, you could say, another type of discussion, but that's the essence. The purpose is to facilitate the awakening of Krishna consciousness in the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's for everyone's opportunity. Now, you said devotee association, so that's what ISKCON is supposed to provide. The association of devotees who will help to remind us of Krishna, who will help to awaken that spirit within all of us of loving devotional service towards Krishna. It's not just to convince others through institutional arguments or philosophical debate, but actually to awaken. Nothing like that will ultimately solve the purpose. It's actually meant to be a facility or a society which helps to awaken our loving, affectionate mood towards Krishna. That, of course, is related with the practical performance of devotional services, which attract Krishna's attention, by rendering service to the pure devotees, that's second, Sevaya, that by rendering this service, great service is done. By such service, everything Krishna is very pleased. He cleanses our hearts when he sees us serving a pure devotee without motivation, even with in the beginning, ultimately without. And the more we surrender this independent mood in devotional service, the more Krishna reciprocates. The ISKCON is supposed to be. It's supposed to be to help us to progress in our spiritual lives, to facilitate the awakening of Krishna consciousness. Devotional association is most essential. There's no way, Prabhupada says, it's a great hallucination to think that we can advance in Krishna consciousness outside the association of devotees. We may say, well, I'm not a devotee. Fair enough. We may not think like we're not a devotee, but we can at least pass on an opportunity, pass on what we received from the devotee, give that opportunity to associate with the pure devotee of the Lord, to others, the opportunity to associate with Srila Prabhupada by offering a mission and movement, which is what Prabhupada would want it to be. And Prabhupada is teaching us how we can make that world, that house, the whole world to live in means a Krishna conscious environment. Not a building. It's an environmental consciousness. The buildings are there to help awaken that, but they don't in themselves necessarily serve that purpose. Purpose is served when we come together and there is strong Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting together. Even if we're not so advanced, if we come together and try to follow the method, the process of the pure devotee, we hear and chant the holy names of Krishna and the devotional services that Prabhupada has given us together, is to bring people together to render service with Krishna in the center. And this will gradually have a whirlwind effect in the sense of purifying all those who come into that circle. That's the idea. We should be constant hearing and chanting, as much as possible hearing and chanting about Krishna and devotional service in its various limbs and forms, and so on and so forth, and the spreading of Krishna consciousness to others. For the association of devotees is absolutely required at all stages of devotional maturity. The type of association may develop, but always required, every single stage. Most important, the association of devotees, without which we cannot genuinely expect to progress. Now, if we're in a far distant place where we don't have any opportunity with it, especially now with sometimes there's COVID restrictions, then we take advantage of whatever facilities are available. And Krishna knows. He knows that we're doing our best. Sometimes when we have no physical association, it increases our heart's desire for it, which is very good. That is actually a very positive sign. But we take advantage of reading Prabhupada's books, keeping online with various Zoom classes, keeping in touch with devotees in various ways, etc., trying to meditate on how I can serve in the situation I'm in, try to remember Srila Prabhupada, remember other devotees, etc. This way we can associate in our heart. But the real association is that which awakens within our heart an attraction towards Krishna consciousness.
Thank you so much for wonderful Nectarium talk. So can you talk, a question come about the community farm, like New Mayapur in France, with your activities?
Hare Krishna, community farm. Funny enough, when I was a teenager, I always dreamt of a community. At that time, I wasn't really connected at all to a spiritual aspect. Something, maybe, but not much. And but the idea of a community was in my heart. And it's still there, although I don't know if I'll see it in this lifetime. But people would come together no matter what we were and share and help each other and appreciate each other. Do things together. If you were I don't know what you all do, maybe some of you are IT specialists or engineers or doctors or something like that. I don't know what you are. Or nobody or whatever it is. But everyone has a part to play. Krishna consciousness means finding our part. Everyone has a part to play. We're all part and parcel of Krishna. Finding our part. So a community should be based on the principle of finding our part, not just having a part rammed down our throat. Sometimes that's the case. It's a matter of, oh, we need this, therefore you have to do this. Okay, that's one aspect. But if you really want a community to grow and develop, it has to become a bit more natural, I think. Of course, a pure devotee may do anything and everything, no matter what. But we're not going to expect that of the majority of people. Community isn't just for pure devotees. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness isn't just for Brahmins or pure devotees. It's for everyone. The vast majority of people would be more likely to be Shudra inclined, with no disrespect, and they may not be so brahminical. So finding parts for everybody so that we can all be a part of this mission. That the community doesn't necessarily have to be tied down to a particular project, a particular place that may or may not be successful in terms of external vision. We have a scenario in New Mayapur, which is kind of an interesting one because it's a fabulous place and there's some wonderful devotees. But many devotees for different reasons, coming from different backgrounds and different experiences, find it's not so easy to work in such a cooperative way as if we like it to be. The thought can be ours. We can look at whatever way we want to look at it. It's a challenge. Cooperation. Cooperation ultimately means finding our part in relation to Krishna. Krishna is in the center. One of the reasons Prabhupada established, as you mentioned here in New Mayapur, he installed Krishna Balaram. We held it, the devotees already had. I wasn't here then. I was here on and off, but I wasn't staying here. They already had going to time. So deity worship is, from that point of view, is one of the main focuses. Harinam Sankirtan, deity worship, to bring us together. We have prasadam, that's it. Brings everyone together. The bigger picture is to have this mood or this understanding of putting Krishna in the center, whether we're conditional or not conditional in services. The principle is the same of trying to do Yat Karoshi Dashnasya Karoshi Dasya. If we're still conditional, we try to do what we want to do it for Krishna. If we're more advanced, maybe Patram Pushpam Palamatoya Romi Bhakti Priyachapita. That's pretty Purvakam maybe come more. But whatever it is, Krishna in the center. This is the only thing which will keep a community. It may not be the only thing which will keep it together, but the only thing which makes worth the community. Whether it's a city community, farm community, congregational community, whatever it may be. The only thing which will keep it together is the more that we're keeping Krishna in the center of what we're trying to do, not ourselves. And that may mean keeping Srila Prabhupada or it's represented in the center, because they know how more than we do, at least how to do that. But because they're coming from very varied backgrounds, it's not like a traditional community which is based on a kind of a society which has grown up together. Family, usually family community, extended family communities. We were born in the same place, brought up in the same kind of way, etc., etc. We're coming from very different backgrounds. So materially speaking, it's very hard to expect unity. But this was Prabhupada's desire, unity and diversity, which was based upon putting the deity in the center, putting Krishna in the center, coming together for a lot of kirtan, etc. Without that, we tend to remain in our own bubbles. And we see things through our bubble, and you get a lot of friction or misunderstandings, etc. But coming together for kirtan and constantly trying to, put the deity or put Krishna in the center is the secret. Prabhupada said that when he was in New Mayapur. Manmana Baba Madbhakto, this is the secret. Whatever it is, engage your mind always in thinking of me. This is what New Mayapur is for. Again, same principle of ISKCON applies to a farm community to facilitate a remembrance of Krishna. The secret. Whatever service we're doing, that's the principle. Remember Krishna. So that's just a community coming together, which with Krishna in the center. But as far as the practical side of it is concerned, New Mayapur was very thriving, relatively thriving in the 70s and early 80s. It went through a challenging 30 years. For many reasons, the government took the property off of the devotees. Some or other the devotees, with Bhakti Shri Maharaj's inspiration, got it back again. But for 30 years, it has been struggling. We're still struggling, but it was struggling in probably more areas than now. We have a lot to do. There's lots of opportunities here at New Mayapur. We want to start the Goshala up again as soon as we can. There's not nearly enough farming going on. Guest houses has started to operate again. The deity worship is going on, not up to the standard as much as we'd like it, but it's going on on a certain good standard. Preaching has started up again. A few more devotees have moved in this area. And buildings, we're trying to fix up many buildings. Most of the buildings were in decay. Even the big temple building, the big chateau, still is very bad condition. We're now spending hundreds of thousands of euros on fixing the building because otherwise it's going to collapse. Practically the roof's collapsing. So these things cost a lot of effort, a lot of money, a lot of begging, borrowing, and stealing. Not stealing, begging, borrowing. But some other we're trying. Things are going on with the grace of devotees, the Lord. And the festivals are going on. We had a big Kirtan Mela here a few weeks ago with Satyananda Maharaj, and Kadambakana Maharaj, and Agni Dev Prabhu. This week Madhava Prabhu's coming. Agni Dev Prabhu is staying here in France now for some time. We're having another one this week. Festival. This week is the 45th anniversary of Krishna Balaram's installation by Prabhupada. Festival for that. Festival for Balaram's appearance. Julan Yatra. Festivals. New Mayapur is a place where all the old devotees, hundreds and hundreds of Gurukulis, as we call them, young devotees who used to go to the Gurukul, they're not so young now, like to come. This is their home. We're trying to facilitate it more and more so they can come back again and again, nourish those roots of Krishna consciousness which they have in their hearts, so that they, make this life useful. And we like to see unity and diversity is the hardest thing. Prabhupada said that, but that's what he wants. He said GBC should get together. All of us should get together and work on how we can establish unity in diversity. Diversity is not the problem. There's no end of it.
Yeah.
But unity is the challenge. Unity.
How many population of
Unity. Unity. See? Let's come together and fight. Unity. But that's what Krishna is like. Unity. Yeah.
Actually, how many population in the farm community right now?
Oh, in New Mayapur?
Yeah, New Mayapur.
I think 55 million the last time I heard.
Oh.
No, more than that. It's gone up this week. There's a lot more mosquitoes. We've got about 400,000 mosquitoes at the moment.
Oh.
So we have about 40 million ants, about 40,000 mosquitoes, maybe 5, 10, 20, 30,000 bees, maybe 10,000 wasps. Lots of residents here at New Mayapur. Trees, we have at least 10,000 trees as well.
Oh.
Big community, a very big community.
Big community.
Very good. They don't all come from under mosquitoes. They if you let them, they'll come from under. Mosquito flies, they come from under. But humans, not so many. Well, we have living on, living off, coming and going. Like all communities, I guess. I think we have about 50 living on the property now.
Not bad.
But it's not. Everything's okay. Nothing's bad, but more than there were a few years ago. And there's about 50 others living close by in the villages nearby. And there's some children coming up now. We've got some babies now. They had no kids for a long time, hardly. Now we've got 3 or 4 babies amongst the younger couples. So maybe they'll grow up and become young boys and girls and may need a school again. They used to have a big school with 70 kids, 80 kids, maybe more, 100 kids. And we haven't had a school for quite a while. And we need more cows. We've only got 4 right now because various reasons. But we want to reawaken the goat shop near as soon as possible. Very important program. Very important. Cow protection is more than just getting milk. It's like deity worship is really, really important program. We hope to wake that up again. We got traveling Sanktam party going out from New Mayapur. Just doing books again. Harinam going out regularly. And guests are coming. Quite a few guests. Guest house. We have a 50-room guest house up now. Kind of okay. Niches. And so a lot of guests are coming in the summer, especially groups and so on. Right now we've got a lot of devotees coming because of the festival. And we have guests. We have bed and breakfast also. People come and stay for bed and breakfast, which is a new thing. They're always nice people. They're always very interesting. We have a lot of volunteers staying with us. There's a woofers program, it's called. Any moment, there's anything from 5 to 20 volunteers staying with us. Most of them are young spiritual searchers, so some of them have become full-time devotees. 2 or 3. So that's another new thing that's popped up in the last few years. 2 houses have gone up or going up. Like that. We're just trying to keep going. We know what we're doing. We're just trying to do a little bit of service. Yeah, come and visit. You're welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. So, what is the closest city of there?
Closest city, I think, is Calgary. Calgary is about 5 minutes on the plane, on the rocket. You just get on the rocket in 5 minutes. Closest city is fair distance away if you want to look at it in terms of geography. It's about I don't know, kilometers, miles. You go by miles over there. So it's about 50 miles away.
Okay, for the last question is, what is your advice from the new devotee?
New devotees, we're all new devotees. We're all very new in one sense. Even if we've been 50 years hanging around, we're still kind of new in eternity, you know. So new devotees, advice for new devotees: chant Hare Krishna with all your hearts, as much as you can, wherever you are. Other things may not always go. I mean, Jayananda Prabhu is like a charya in the sense of devotional service. If you want to find out what devotional service is in a realistic way, in other words, somebody in this day and age who took shelter of devotional service, read about Jayananda. So that would be my advice to you. Read about Jayananda Prabhu, whose devotional service was just absolutely astonishing. And one thing he said was, things don't always go well. They don't always go the way you want in Krishna consciousness. They do it. You know what I mean? Just keep chanting Hare Krishna, no matter what. Just keep chanting. There's nothing to be had in the 14 words but the holy name. So that means chant Hare Krishna and try to serve the devotees. Lord Chaitanya said these 2 things are all you need. Service to the Vaishnavas and chanting the holy names. Chanting with all our hearts. Keep chanting, keep chanting, keep chanting. And we'll become enchanted.
Thank you so much for your time and nectarian talk about devotional service and Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much, and please may accept humble obeisance to you and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the devotees, online, offline, whatever line you're on.
Yeah.
On the clothing line, whichever line you're on. Hare Krishna.
So your time is going up. So thank you so much again, everyone, for joining the wisdom, the nectar from senior devotee and experiencing Srila Prabhupada.